Hi, welcome. It's time for A Woman for Women. I am Susan Maud, your host, and we're going to have another rather interesting discussion, I think. So it is the 18th of September, and on the 18th I used to do a human circle, or I was trying to do one, and that included men and women. But I am moving away from that whole concept and moving into this video format. Sorry, my hair is doing funny things, so I gotta fix it a little bit. There. Okay. So we'll talk about men and women and intersex people. And we're going to talk about this hymen thing that people say women have, that has been proven that they don't have. But I think it's really in some babies, and I guess we'll just get right into it, there is some sort of foreskin. It looks to me like it's labia that is not grown in the normal way. Or it could be an intersex person who does not have a complete female body part. So the body was forming the two genders together, and then you have various openings for the vaginal area. Sometimes there's no opening on a intersex person. Sometimes there's a little opening. Sometimes there's a couple of openings. Sometimes it's a bit more. Sometimes it's blocked, so things are in there because the vaginal part never developed. So you're actually seeing the lower body of the human being. And so it's not really a hymen at all. Why are there so many variations in gender? That is the real question. Why do some women have large labia, so lips that are almost like a flower, to not having any lips at all, and then all the variations in between? I mean, there are also women with very large breasts and women with very small breasts. Perhaps this is nature's way of seeing what works best, of seeing what is needed at the time. For whatever reason. Now, I know that in some cultures in Africa, the labia is at some point sort of sewn together so that I'm going to say, we're living out in, some people in Africa and in some rural settings are living really close to nature. So then maybe there are insects or creatures that crawl into a vaginal area. I don't know. So maybe it's a way that the natives found to protect the woman's vaginal area by sewing up the skin around it until it was time to open it up, and when she, I guess, would get married and then want to have babies, right? Or maybe it was a rape. Maybe it's a rape preventative to sew up the labia so that there can be no penetration. So there's no need to rape a woman because you can't, there's nothing to rape. So there could be various reasons why genital operations are done. And I think doctors, especially everywhere, have taken liberties sometimes and chosen sex of a child when maybe they missed what the real tendency for that child might be later in life. So sometimes they decide, oh, this baby has both a penis and a vagina, so it looks to me like it's more a girl by size or whatever. So then they go ahead and chop off the penis, and then you're left with a vagina. And then later in life, the baby grows, and it turns out that it actually was more male. It was just a small male. And now it doesn't have a penis anymore. And the vagina might not be fully functioning because it was an intersex baby. So then, by doing that, the doctors have removed the possibility for reproduction. So I'm going to say, stop any gender decisions before the age of 25. By doctors, by parents, by anybody. Stop it. You are hurting the child. You are hurting the future adult human. Let the adult human decide who they are and who they want to be, irregardless of the fact that they have a penis and a vagina. Let them grow. We might need people like that too to send off to Mars or to the moon to make babies, because they can be pregnant and impregnate others at the same time. So there's no need to destroy this opportunity for humanity. These are special people that are important for our future. They can even impregnate themselves. And if that is the case, around the age of 10, the only thing that I would agree to is allowing a vasectomy. And then every year it needs to be checked that it's still working, because we don't want the child to impregnate themselves, which they could do. I mean, it might not be the worst thing either, but it's certainly something we would. I think it's best not to impregnate yourself. That's my opinion. It's not based on any religion or anything like that. It's just based on my own personal preference. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some people out there would say, no, I think it's okay if somebody impregnates themselves. And you know what? It really, technically, it is. If it's possible, if nature allows it, then it must be normal. And so I think we really need to stop doing gender decisions at birth and wait. Even during youth, I don't think we should do anything like that. I think we need to let nature takes its route, whatever it's doing, and let the human being have the opportunity to reproduce before any gender changes happen. So that's I say 25, because that gives, anyone a good 10 years of the possibility of reproducing before they decide to change their gender or decide on a gender. I mean, the real thing is if we learned as a society to accept intersex people who might have two fully intact genders, if we as a society can learn to accept that, then we don't even need to have operations. Then no decision is ever really needed. And maybe that's what we need to do, but I think a hymen is really something undeveloped in some females, or in some vaginas, or in some labia. And I don't think it exists in intact females. So what I saw was leftover skin, leftover labia that might have grown together and is creating a layer of skin. So, yeah. And I believe it could also be sorry, my phone, I'm going to have to put you down for a second. My phone is not exactly in the holder right, so I just want to see if I can get it better. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what I see is underdeveloped vaginal tissues. And I guess it's possible. I think these hymens usually, if there really is one, it's usually in one of these intersex people. And it could be that they don't have a complete uterus, they don't have a complete vagina, and the space is very short rather than long. And so you're seeing already the cervix there that also might be incomplete. And again, I think, not enough scientific research has been done on the human body, on the female side of the human body. So, some women apparently do have pain during intercourse. And I'm going to say that perhaps some of these women might have, or might be intersex. They might not have a complete vagina. They might not have a vagina that developed fully. They might not have a uterus or anything else. And because we, prior to today, I mean, it's still happening today, but we'll say today, a lot of gender decisions are made at birth by the birthing doctor. And this is unacceptable. So stop operating on gender parts. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Okay, so that is when people say sex hurts, so when women say sex hurts, I really think it's because of an underdeveloped, or perhaps also the man is overdeveloped. Perhaps his oversized clitoris is just too long, and her uterus or her vaginal area, the birth canal, is not long enough for that sex partner. So maybe you have to find a different sex partner. On the other hand, women don't orgasm through sex. We orgasm through clitoris stimulation. So, truthfully, for women, we don't need sex. It's not like we crave it. We don't need it. People who need it are usually men, or who want it are usually men. And this is actually what I really wanted to talk about here, is that so many men say, women don't initiate sex or sexual intercourse or lovemaking or intimacy. They don't initiate it. Well, we don't initiate it because we don't orgasm through it. Sorry. You do. So you initiate it. But we don't. So there's no need for us to initiate it. I mean, we can have an orgasm with or without you. Your orgasm can also be done with or without us. But being in the throes of lovemaking is wonderful. And it's a wonderful, lovely experience. And but lasting long is not necessary. 5 minutes will do the trick. Not with all the foreplay and the post play, but for actual intercourse, you don't need it to last too long, because then soreness and infections can happen and all sorts of stuff. So 5-10 minutes is good enough. Then I say lovemaking. And I think whenever two people come together so close, it should be about love. I know men like sex, and I'm not a man, so I don't like sex. I like lovemaking. And I think most women are like me. They like lovemaking. But men, if you want to meet up in your bathrooms and go have sex in the stalls, go ahead. But when you're with a woman, it's lovemaking. And intimacy can be many things. So lovemaking and intimacy are very close together. Sex is something else. Again, excuse me. Most men are bisexual, and I wish men would feel comfortable coming out of the closet and saying that, so that we can get over this weird condition we have of some men out of the closet, some men in the closet because they're not strong enough or courageous enough to tell their families. Or they're not strong enough or courageous enough to tell their wives or their girlfriends. Men and women are different. We really are. And we have to really start talking. And that's why I'm making these videos. Because I've discovered a lot in my life. And I'm not willing to let my daughter or anyone else's daughter go through what I did. So, I'm done with that. That's why I'm being open and honest and talking about everything. So, men are bisexual, most of them. Whether they admit it or not, that's up to the man. But most are. And it could even come from being intersex, because a lot of men are intersex and they don't even know it. So, I don't think it should be such a big deal, except when you are in a committed relationship and you are cheating. Lying is just not good. Period. Honesty is good. Telling the truth is good. Lying, cheating, it's stupid. Don't do it. So, yeah, I know they are exploring the, male pill or vasectomies and other things, birth control for men. The real trick is that most men aren't going to take it, but they might lie and say that they're taking it. And then you end up pregnant. Ultimately, you ladies are the ones who get pregnant. So, sadly, the burden of not getting pregnant lies on your shoulder. But, if my plan to pay women for being mothers would go forward, then we could consider then you wouldn't be so afraid to get pregnant or to be pregnant often, because it would be a career choice and you would be compensated for your work that you're doing raising a human being in a happy and healthy way. So that's why my plan to pay women to be mothers is so crucial. for a better lifestyle for everyone. Let men be men. I mean, as long as they're not hurting people. You guys can go off and do your man thing. And let women be women. We'll be the village. Yeah. Okay. So, I think intercourse does not produce an orgasm for women. It is only for men. An orgasm producing activity. So intercourse is not technically terribly important unless you're a woman trying to get pregnant. Then you need intercourse. But again, it for women, intercourse feels only good enough to receive the semen. It's not anything that we technically really have to do. Our clitoris is outside of the vaginal area, the birth canal, so it's for other purposes, and it's activated in a different way. So intercourse doesn't do it for us. And that's why women don't initiate sex as often, or I should say, initiate lovemaking as often as men. And, you know, for the longest time in my childhood, or I shouldn't say childhood, well, you know, I was raped at 9, so my childhood disappeared pretty quick. But later, when I became sexually active, you know, with my partner, we tried different ways of making intercourse feel good, and ultimately, intercourse is not orgasm for women. So it feels good, but it's not the end all feeling. And usually when men finish, especially if they're planting their seeds to make a baby, then that is a very special intercourse, and that's a very special moment. And I highly recommend doing, if you want to get pregnant, is a female orgasm after the male orgasm. And lie on your back so that your cervix dips down into the semen and pulls in even more. Now, I know that they say that they did research and that it doesn't work, but you know what? There's a lot of research out there that lies. So we know statistics lie. They can be interpreted in many ways. So, you know, just it's not the worst idea to have your cervix opening, dipping into the juice, dipping into the semen. It can't hurt, you know. So yeah, make time for that if you're planning on getting pregnant. Absolutely. And I highly recommend that women orgasm before intercourse, because it swells up the area and it puts a lot of juice there. And it means that you will not orgasm at the same time. But that's okay. Why not spend time on one of you, and then the other spends time on the other? Women don't usually get tired like men do after intercourse, after orgasming. So if a woman orgasms, she's still there, you know, she's ready to, and very then sexually stimulated and ready to, you know, help a man to orgasm. So I highly recommend having the woman orgasm first, and then move into the male orgasm, and then if you're trying to get pregnant, then the woman should orgasm again while lying on her back. And that's what I can say, you know. So the myth about the first time hurting, that might work for the intersex people. The first time might hurt for them. Even times after that might hurt. And in fact, you know, if the male clitoris is too large, too long, he can hurt all sorts of women, no matter if they're fully developed or not. People with very long penises or long clitorises, whatever you want to call it, they will hit the cervix and cause pain. So pain is not orgasm. I think a lot of women don't know what an orgasm feels like, but the only way to achieve an orgasm for a woman is to play with and massage your clitoris. That's the only way. So discover your body. I know in a lot of cultures it's taboo to do that, but take the time, learn your body, learn what an orgasm is, because you can't tell your partner what how you orgasm if you don't know how. And what you see on TV about, screaming and all of that, women don't scream when they orgasm. It's actually a very peaceful, gentle, and relieving, relaxing motion with very little movement, actually. It's not thrusting or anything like that. It's just very little stroking, maneuvering, massaging until you reach a climactic point, and then a wave of relaxation and tension, forces come together. There's this throbbing that goes on, and the vagina does throb, and these hormones release throughout your body, and you can feel it, and it feels really good. So get to know your own body so you can tell your partner that what you're feeling is pain or pleasure. That's the first thing. Then I recommend love making rather than sex. And ladies, you do have to take control of if you want to be pregnant or not. And currently, I am not in a position of power where I can bring mother's pay to women. I wish I were already, but I'm not still. So I'm working on that so that we can get paid for this important job we do of 20 years raising a human being. And yeah, the myth about the hymen is a myth. I think it's just underdeveloped female parts in an intersex person, and maybe the wrong sex was chosen at birth. That's why we have to stop genital mutilation at birth. And we need to just learn to accept intersex people. There's nothing wrong with being intersex. We all should have the right to live our lives how we feel, looking how we want. And life is long. We're going to change anyways. So, 10 years ago, I looked completely different than how I look today. And in 10 years, I'm going to look even more different. So let's just stop it. Let's start living life, enjoying life, and being who we are. And doctors need to get out of the birthing room. There is seldom a time when a doctor is needed during a birth. It's the most natural process. There's no need to do anything, really. And stop your cesarean sections. Stop using chemicals to take away the pain, and start using orgasmic birth. Look into that. That's the other time where women really should be orgasming. It's not a disgusting thing. It's perfectly normal, scientific, natural, animal kingdom orgasms all the time. Somewhere along the line, it was decided that orgasm is a man thing and that women shouldn't do it. Shame on you, whoever decided that. I'm going to say religions. So, anyway, time to move forward and take our womanhood back, our orgasms back, and live a more pleasurable life. There we go. Okay, so I think that's about it. We don't make those noises either. It's maybe men do, but women don't. It's unnecessary. It's a very peaceful process. So, there. Now it's really done. Thank you for stopping by. This is, I think part 3 or my 3rd A Woman for Women talk. I also have those taboo talks from before, from last year, if you want to find out more or listen more. But I've got even more research now, so it's becoming clearer what's gone on. And my goal is to just, if women understand their bodies better, then they can communicate better with their partners. And then a lot of marriages might last a bit longer, because people know what their bodies can do and how they work. We've been lied to a lot, or maybe it's just misunderstanding. I don't know. I think it's lied to. We used to have witches that probably knew the secrets, and they were killed. So it's time to recapture the knowledge that was lost. And I don't know if it's just in the West or if it's all over the planet, but let's start having more pleasure. And that's why women don't initiate sex. There we go. To answer questions. Okay. My name is Susan Maud, and I am a woman for women. Thank you, and have a good day wherever you are. Bye for now.